What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now. Takes you all at the lock tonight. Despite there being 10 games on the board, actually I think there's 12, but both DK and FanDuel, they're dropping the two latest games. It is a very rare sprint slate, essentially, that is 10 games, right? First game starts at 7:30, last game starts at 8:30. Dallas and San Antonio is at 8:30 game. Bunch of games up top. I think it's 6-4 or 6-3. Lots of early games. We're not getting the news and dropping as far as who's in and who's out and body parts and things of that sort. It's going to be a pretty wild crunch time. It is Kirkwood, Roth, and TJ Zwarych. It's a movie Monday as well. It is Chop, two-time millionaire winner. Hopefully Chop does not have a case of the Mondays. Chopper, how are things? Are we doing all right?
Hey, we're hanging in there. We're doing all right, dude. I can't complain. I mean, I could complain about a couple of things like a water pipe issue. I probably have to have a plumber come out. I always hate to have, stuff like that hanging over your head. And Twitter was down this morning for NFL free agency at the start of it. It was a little rough going there. But we're tuning in. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna crush it, Dean. I got my eyes on the NFL free agency. If you need any updates, Kenny Pickett just got traded to the Cleveland Browns. Your Cleveland Browns are now the owners of Kenny Pickett.
He's not going to start there, right?
I hope not, for their sake. But I guess a good insurance policy. But
Yeah.
Just all kinds of good stuff. Big shocker. Laramie Tunsil gets traded today. I was surprised at that one. Surprised for sure.
Well, for a team that they were, it just doesn't make any sense because they were not good at preventing sacks, preventing pressure. And why would they get rid of the one guy that's supposedly good at it? Stroud, that offense fell back pretty hard, and that's part of the reason why. But I said Houston's kind of cheap, right? Aren't they notoriously like a cheap organization? They're right there with the Bengals. No?
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
I think they're probably going to blow up that offensive line and start over, get those picks, and just start drafting a bunch of rookies and see if they can't hit the jackpot. So
I'm thinking of the Astros. The Astros owners, they're pretty cheap.
Not at all. That you're just way off.
They don't want to pay anybody. They didn't want to pay Kyle Tucker.
No, they don't want to pay. They don't want to overpay. They don't want to pay for 10 plus years and all that other stuff. But look at their payroll is one of the highest in baseball. They just do it in a different way.
All right,
Short-term contracts are better always.
Anything? I've not been following the NFL stuff a ton. I did see the Tunsil thing. I saw that Fields is now the Jets quarterback. I guess he's the starter.
Interesting.
They might draft somebody. Who knows? And then Darnold got paid, and I don't know. I don't really get it, but whatever. Like, it's just, what's the best case scenario for Sam Darnold? He's like the 12th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's the absolute best case scenario. I don't really understand that one, but good for him. I thought he was going to get paid less because of, like, if he somehow got hurt week 15, week 16, just got hurt, he would have made more money, right? But I guess he did all right, considering where he was a year or two.
Yeah, lots of stuff there. Commanders have added a couple pieces. We'll see if they can continue to improve. Debo and now Tunsil, those are big pieces for them. We'll see how that plays out. Devontae going to the Rams is interesting because it tells you the Rams really think Cooper Kupp is completely washed, or else they would have given him some of that money that they gave Devontae. So
Adams is only 80% washed.
Adams, how did people? I've heard you're the second person that said they think he's washed. He's not washed.
He's not washed, but he's somewhere in the middle, I think.
I really defer to having like no quarterbacks for the last 4 years that he's played with. I think that has more to do with what any kind of fall off. You look at his contested catch rate and everything else is still in line with his career numbers. He's fine, and he'll be really good in this system. But if you're willing to pay 32-year-old Devontae that kind of money, that tells you that Kupp must be like really on the down because they had their eyes on him the whole time. But lots of big moves, and then you go over to the hot corner. What is it? What is baseball? The great
base,
whatever. grapefruit league, whatever they call Major League Baseball. Big news coming out.
You're thinking the hot stove.
Hot stove. Big news coming out. Garrett Cole probably going to have Tommy John surgery, man. Tough scene for the New York Yankees.
They lost two pitchers, right? It's not just Cole, but somebody else. The Yankees lost Severino. No, the guy.
It's Gill.
Yes,
Gill, but he's not like permanently lost. He's just gonna rest him for a little bit.
It doesn't look good, but yeah. I think Stroman is now like in their rotation at this point. Remember him? Yeah, they're gonna have to pick Warren. Another guy.
Couldn't have happened to a better organization.
Sad.
Very sad for those guys.
Baseball season right around the corner. Get excited. Gonna be talking baseball soon. Tonight, 10 games. I went ahead and dropped this in the chat. The situation room as far as who's in and who's out, who we have our eyes on. LeBron got injured. He finally broke down. He's got that groin, so he's not playing basketball tonight. Also, Luka is questionable too. So Luka looks great if he plays. If he doesn't, like Austin Reeves will get all the usage in the world, right? Not necessarily the best matchup against Brooklyn just because they're so slow, but he would get a ton of usage. We're getting the rematch of last night's the OKC Denver game, the battle of the two players that are up for the MVP, the reigning MVP, and Jokic, and the future MVP in SGA. SGA won round one. Joker legit hurt his elbow. He's questionable. They're saying he's got an intent to play, but Murray's out. Gordon got hurt. He's out already too. Did I say Murray's out? Murray's questionable. If I said he was out, my bad. But lots of stuff as far as who's in, who's out. We have Toronto doing their shenanigans. We talked about it on Friday, and they didn't really do it, but they did their shenanigans as far as benching their players over the weekend against Washington? And then Philadelphia and you got to keep up with the tankers. It's not hard that they came out and said Oubre's not going to play much, and Yabusele and Drummond was sick and then got pulled, and Philly's pulling their games because, again, it's really, really tough to be, top 3, top 4 as far as the worst teams in the league. It's bad. It's rough out there. You got to get your L's when you can. Utah's playing tonight. They have some goofiness, but they're playing the Celtics. The Celtics are, the tank should take care of itself. So I thought that Utah would actually play their guys. I thought we'd actually see guys like Lauri Markkanen. We still might, right? I think he's questionable. And my thought is, if Tatum is in, Tatum's questionable because they don't need Tatum in Boston tonight. In Boston, basically, they're not going to catch Cleveland. I think they got the 2 spot, essentially. Maybe 2 or 3. I'm not sure how close New York is on them. But New York, of course, dealing with their own problems. No Brunson for the time being. But, just lots of stuff up in the air. Horford is questionable. Porzingis has been ill forever. He's not officially out, but he's doubtful. Markkanen is questionable. Collins is questionable. You figure Utah will play their guys tonight just because they're going to lose anyway. But, maybe if, Tatum doesn't go, they might get scared and pull Markkanen and pull Collins. That's kind of my thought on that. We legit have a Trae Young questionable tag. He's got a quad issue. LeVert got a midday downgrade to questionable. There's a lot, man. We could see a Bona season for Philadelphia, especially if Drummond doesn't go. Of course, Embiid is done for the year. Paul George, you're probably not going to see him again. Why would you? Philly again, full stop on their tank. It's a mess, man. It feels like it's the last week of the season, Chop, doesn't it? At least it does to me. There's still a month of this. I can't believe it. But that's that, and it's not going to get better.
Yeah, NBA sucks, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can't wait for the baseball to kick off, but you just got to deal with it, I guess, and get through it. I agree with everything you said. Basically, it's a waiting game on some of this stuff. I bet. What would you rather watch tonight, Dean? A little Jokic versus SGA or Bedard versus McKinnon?
You're talking Chicago Blackhawks versus the Colorado Avalanche?
Well, 2 stars or 2 stars in this sport.
I'm just shocked about. You probably hear the names, but I thought you just dislike hockey. You're dropping.
I never said I dislike hockey. I never said that, Dean.
You're dropping the hockey on me. Well, Chicago's terrible. I know that. Bedard though is a legit. McKinnon's awesome too. I would rather watch SGA and Joker. Even though
I don't know about that one, Dean, because I got a feeling Denver's just not really going to be after getting trounced yesterday. I mean, playing the best, they played really well, as good as they can play for about, I don't know, 75% of that game. They were really, competitive in there, and then to just get dog walked at the end, I don't think they're gonna have much left tonight. So I don't think it's gonna be a very fun matchup if you're asking me. But I don't know. Who knows, man? Maybe they
all
come
right,
out hot.
schedule makers, what are they doing to us? Like the two of the premier teams facing each other back to back. Like
Back
they're
to
just
back.
end of the
Ridiculous.
season, like they're setting it up for failure. Just I know it's not easy to make the schedule. You got to accommodate a lot of things, but you could do better than this. Yeah, who else? Joker, Luka, Tatum, Young, all questionable. Halliburton, we haven't seen play several games. He's questionable. TJ McConnell, thankfully I took that slate off, but McConnell played like 30 seconds or so over the weekends and had a locker room visit, never came back. He's questionable tonight. We saw what Nemard and Mathurin both had pretty good games there. The path is clear with the absence of Bradley Beal for a potential Tyus Jones revenge game against Memphis. Memphis is without some pieces as well. Phoenix is the worst defense in basketball last 15 games. Desmond Bane's been awesome of late as well. So he's somebody we'll be talking about as one of my favorite plays. He's one of the guys I wrote up today in the survey. But we should go ahead and drop that first clue for the people as well. Get it scrolling. It's the old movie Monday. I know you like to play as well, Chop. You play in our secret chat. And the people, they play in the YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Official YouTube guesses don't count. They're not official. The only official guesses are in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. Most every one of our Discord channels are free. Of course, that will be a free channel. One guess per clue drop. No MMing. The first clue, Chop, is law. Anything big picture wise as far as the slate? Again, we're going to be adjusting on the fly. It's a 10 gamer. If there's any game we don't care, you're not interested. We don't want the filibuster. We can just say, yeah, this is not for me. We can scoot along, unless some news comes in. But, there's a lot of stuff to delve into. Whatever you don't get to, crunch time's going to knock out.
Yeah.
You got anything big picture wise? You want to just dive in? How you feeling?
Feeling like just found out Charvarius Ward is going to sign a 3-year deal with the Colts. I think that's pretty. I think the Niners, man, Niners might be in just full blow-up mode here. They kind of stink now. I don't know. They might, I don't know what's going on with the Niners. They're losing everybody right and left. So I don't know. I guess for NBA, we can just dive in, though.
Who did I see? The backup quarterback for the Rams. Speaking of the Niners, former Niners quarterback.
Garoppolo.
Yeah. Is there a better gig than being a backup quarterback that just never plays? Like, that's the greatest gig in the world, right? Like, I guess you want to play in theory, but it's not so terrible if you just
not in the NFL,
practice.
Man. Not in the
What a
NFL.
great gig.
In the
Don't get exposed.
In the NFL, if you can just earn your money and not have to, nobody hits you, you're fine. NBA, in the NBA, I'm sure everybody wants to play. Like, let me get in there and play. In the NFL, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are just like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good just warming the bench here for X amount of dollars.
It looks like it hurts. Officially, we got Miami guys ruled in. Duncan Robinson, Wiggins ruled in. Hero was ill. He's good to go. He is probable. We did not get any clarity. No surprise. And you get the 5:30 injury report. I don't think anything significantly changed, but I will refresh here at NBA.com and take a peek. But the first game, Chop, it is the Lakers. There is a big if-then here, obviously. We do know LeBron is out. He's got that groin. Looks like the Lakers are down to 10 bodies. It could potentially be less. Oh, I should mention the back-to-back stuff, right? Because they're one of the teams. There are 9 teams in the back half of a back-to-back. So, again, it's going to be a mess. Sixers, Jazz, and you got teams like the Sixers and the Jazz. Jazz, Lakers, Suns, Grizz, Denver, OKC playing against each other. We talked about that. Dallas and the Spurs. Those teams playing against each other as well. 3 teams in the front end for what it's worth. Washington, the Pacers, and the Nets. Lakers, of course, no Jackson Hayes. They're really thin inside. No Rui Hachimura's played some small ball 5. No LeBron, who can play some 5. No Bronny. Bronny's out as well. DFS, no DFS. He's out. revenge game? Did he play for Brooklyn? I feel like that happened. Am I making that up? Not sure. But Brooklyn is without Cam Thomas, and Claxton is available. Tosan is out. He's in the G League. I guess they're managing his games. And Trendon Watford also out. But, Chop, if we have money and Luka's in, he looks awesome. If Luka's out, Austin Reeves goes from looking really good, looking amazing. He'll just completely run the show. Your thoughts, Lakers and the Nets?
Yeah, you just summed it up. Next game. I mean, I don't really disagree. So Lakers, yes, I kind of thought Luka might sit out. If he's in, he's a great play. He's 12K on DraftKings, but he's fine. He's great without LeBron. Even if he doesn't sit out, I still like Austin Reeves. But if he does sit out, Austin Reeves becomes chalky and phenomenal and all that other good stuff. I don't mind Jared Vanderbilt here in this spot for a pretty good price tag. Probably not so much in on Trey Jameson or Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you wanted to play them in GPPs, go for it. On the other side of the court over there, I think out of all these guys, none of these guys really stand out except for maybe a little D'Angelo Russell revenge, and that's about it. We're going to –
Oh.
What? You don't think?
I forgot about the Russell revenge.
So, I mean, Cam Thomas is going to vacate a lot of shot attempts and stuff. So I think maybe D'Angelo fills in there a little bit more with the shot attempts. That's about it.
How many minutes we giving Russell? 28. Yeah, they only give him so much. Well, the price is actually pretty decent. I don't hate that. And Claxton's not terrible either, but no real priorities here. But I think Claxton's a pretty decent price at 5.5. And, the Lakers are really thin. They're really thin inside. We're projecting Vanderbilt and Jamison to start, which is a little surprising to me. That's to be honest, but I think Vanderbilt's just I don't know. We'll see, and we'll know this. You mentioned Connect. I think there's a chance Connect starts, and again they're down to 10 and 9 if Luka doesn't go, and like the 6 through 10 is Connect, Milton, Reddish, Goodwin, who's an interesting flyer, I guess. Especially if Luka doesn't go, and Kolokos. There's not much there. They're really, really thin, the Lakers. It's not just LeBron. Of course, he's the headline, but we can move on. I see TJ hanging out in chat, and the bullpen will be coming on in about an hour, as well as Kirkwood, leader of the Juggalos, and Kevin Roth. Roth will be in as well, holding it down. Take you guys to 7:30 again. 7:30. If you didn't piece it together, very, very strange. 10 game slates, 12 games being played in total. And the earliest game being played tonight is 7:30 on the East Coast. Okay, let's do it. Let's jump to the next game. It's Philadelphia and Atlanta. Get excited. 236 is the total. Atlanta's like an 11-point favorite here against Philly. Who's in, who's out? Well, yeah, Philly's a mess. Drummond got ill yesterday, barely played. He's ill today. He's questionable. Embiid's out for the season. Paul George, forget it. Lowry, forget it. Maxey, they keep giving this guy – he gave him a questionable tag. Come on. Oubre, they said they're going to limit his minutes. Well, today they're limiting it to 0. They gave him an ankle because they, God forbid they win a game. So Lonnie Walker is pretty interesting. And if Drummond doesn't go, at Bona, we saw Bona go nuts yesterday. And even if Drummond plays, maybe he taps out again and they unleash Bona. I think both those guys are pretty interesting as far as cheapies. Yabusele's another guy I talked about, Chop, as far as limiting minutes. And then there's Atlanta. Well, we have Krejci, who's questionable. LeVert, midday downgrade questionable. And a legit questionable for Trae Young. So things can open up for sure. Keaton Wallace is 3.7. He's not still minimum 3K, but if Young doesn't go, Wallace will be the guy that probably gets elevated to the starting lineup and does some things. What do you got here, Chopper? Philly, Atlanta.
Well, I think earlier in the day I kind of identified a pretty easy fade on Trae Young in this game, just based on not just the questionable tag, but the matchup. There's going to be Atlanta's not going to be pushed at all in this game, right? Philly's trying to lose, and they're going to put a bad product on the court. So I don't want to spend $9,700 on a guy in that type of game. So I'll go to his a couple of the lower salaried guys right there, a little bit under him. Dyson Daniels, maybe rack up a ton of defensive stats against a team that's just not good, man. And Okongwu, maybe, 6,800 is a pretty good price for him against not much competition here. Philly's going to have a lot of value tonight. I can get behind Jared Butler. I could get behind Lonnie Walker, both super cheap. If you want a little bit more of a volatile player with some upside, Ricky Council is fine. I'm probably out on Drummond and Grimes because I think they're actually too good for Philly right now. I don't think, or they can actually keep Philly a little bit too competitive in these games. And certainly Philly doesn't want that. So I think these lower level guys, Adam Bana is really not. He's 3,400. He's going to project for over 20 points. He's more of a defensive guy and not necessarily a good offensive player. So I don't know if that's the route I want to take, but I think Butler and Walker and Council are the guys for Philly I'm gravitating to.
Ibana's 3-4 is center and center only on DK. He's 3-7 on FanDuel center only. But the Drummond thing, again, I feel like there's a decent chance Ibana plays more than 25 minutes. There's an opportunity cost, as always, with those bigs. Ownership is there on Lonnie. How do you feel about a 10-game slate, Chop? 10 games. And Lonnie Walker, volatile Lonnie Walker, 45% DK is his current projection as far as ownership. On FanDuel, 47%, where he's 4-1. I'm sorry, that's Butler is 47%, and Walker's 40%. Both those guys in the 40s. Relying on Philadelphia, relying on them being terrible, but, those are guys that are going to put up fantasy points. They're probably going to get a fair bit of run. I'm with you as far as pushing back on Grimes. They came out and said, he's playing too good, too competitive, can't let him play. Do you have a preference as far as Butler versus Walker the fourth?
Do I have a preference on those two guys? Probably Jared Butler, but if you had to twist my arm and say just one Philly guy, it would probably be Ricky Council.
Ricky Council. Okay. That's if things get completely out of hand. But yeah, sure. I guess it's possible.
He's not – he's what they want right now in his tanking mode. I don't think he's a very good player in real life. So, but he can put up counting stats. So I think he's in pretty good spot right there.
Chop, when have we ever had the ability to do a fourth, the stack of the fourths? Imagine stacking Lonnie Walker the fourth and Ricky Council the fourth.
Oh, those things are a spreadsheet nightmare. You know that? Goodness gracious.
I do have my eye on Bona if Drummond happens to sit out, or if we get Bona or Drummond's going to be on some kind of weird minutes limit or something like that. And he might, like you said. Philly's just going to be – they're going to be hard to project. John Collins is in and Jaden Springer's in. Oh, look at that. They're all of a sudden healthy. They play against good teams. That's just the way it works out with Utah. Very predictable. I'm going to guess Markkanen plays too. We'll see if that happens. But, all right. Anything else? You're moving on. I think we're moving on, right? All right. See some guesses in the Discord for today's Movie Monday. It is not the Royal Tenenbaums or RoboCop or Bridesmaid.
Remember, Dean, even if somebody gets it right, let's try a day where we don't even acknowledge that it's correct. But you make a mental note of it, or even a physical note of it, to write it down and come back and address it later. But let everybody keep guessing without knowing the answer. That's the way we know everything's on the up and up here.
The second clue, we'll go ahead and drop that for the people. Let them. Nobody's officially got it. Wink, wink. Second clue is Rose. Law and Rose. That is our first two clues. Okay. The Jazz and Boston, 230.5 is a total. Boston is a 17-point favorite here. Getting some news here on Utah. All the Utah news, or just partial Utah news? On the injury report, what we had is Clarkson out, Collins questionable. He was just upgraded to in. Keontae George is out. Markkanen questionable. Jaden Springer in for Boston. Al Horford played a lot of minutes last game. He's questionable. Porzingis is doubtful. I assume he doesn't play. And Tatum is questionable with a knee. It is an island game for Boston, but it's also a game where there is 17-point favorites. And, just as long as you're wearing a Boston jersey, you should absolutely shellac whatever's getting rolled out there for Utah. Jazz, Boston, best you can do. What do you got?
Well, you said if we didn't have to talk about a game, we can just kind of mail it in. And this is one I would mail in. Boston's too good for Utah. I don't see how any of the relevant players get pushed to do anything here, or like there's no massive upside for those price tags. And on the Utah side, against Boston, I can pass on every single player in this lineup at their price tag. So this is a total game, a fade game for me.
Yeah, just like, of course, if we happen to lose Tatum, Jaylen Brown would look really, really good. He looks fine right now, but I think Jaylen Brown would be elevated pretty tremendously. And the our if then is set up under the assumption that how Horford and Tatum both sit, both Horford and Tatum, and I think Porzingis is already ruled out on our projections because he's officially doubtful. Brown would have a 50-point DK median projection, 48 and change on FanDuel, so he would project great. White would project really strong. Pritchard would project really strong. And then, the combination of Kornet and Keita, both those guys will look pretty good as well, with Zinger assumed to be out. And that's, again, if Horford's out also. But as things stand right now, there's nothing I have to play. You're certainly going to expect this game's going to blow out. The Utah side, I can't get excited about any of it. No. Especially if Collins is in, and if Markkanen plays, you're not going to play him. Kessler's been good, but he's priced that way. And Filipowski is going to have to get some minutes. He's been excellent offensively, at least. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move along unless something changes news-wise. Did we only get half of Utah? Yeah, they told us that Collins is in. Maybe they're waiting for Tatum on Markkanen. Maybe that's what's happening. A little bit of a cat and mouse game here. It's very important because, the Celtics right now, they're in the locker room wasting time, potentially game planning on how to stop Lauri Markkanen.
We know that's not the case, Dean. Like if you're in Utah's position, you're waiting on you don't want to take any chances.
No.
Like if Tatum and Brown play, yeah, okay. We can play Markkanen and we can play these because we're not winning anyway, right? Like you said, but what if Tatum sits? Then we better just make sure we don't get this win and we got to put Markkanen on the bench. But I was looking at Utah and their, rebuild here through the draft. Boy, yeah. they have airballed everything so far, man, in their draft picks. So
Danny Ainge, is that mostly him, or is it he kind of inherit most of it? It's been around for a couple
years. It's got to be mostly him because the rebuild's relatively new. They've airballed everything, so they got to get this. They got to get this one right. They got to get this right.
Yeah, well, we always talk about it, and it's not picking on Utah, but when was the last significant free agent that said, you know what, I can go anywhere I want, and I'm going to sign in Utah? Doesn't happen. They get the scraps. We got a bunch of money. Anybody want to come here? We'll overpay you. Yeah, they've lost 5 in a row, by the way. They've done a tremendous job. They're now in the 2 spot in the Tankathon, tied with Charlotte. They actually have 1 loss on them, too. Washington still in the 1 spot. We'll talk about them in a second. Washington, Utah, Charlotte, Toronto in the 5th spot is Toronto. Almost won again last game. I don't know if you saw that. They missed the shot at the buzzer, but
no, he made the shot at the buzzer.
Well, they made it. Yeah, they shot it a split second too late. With Quickly on the bench, with Barrett on the bench, with Barnes on the bench, doing everything they can to lose. Not even trying to hide it. No shame. Another team that just doesn't get free agents. 231 is the total there. Washington and Toronto. Toronto is an 8-point favorite here. Who's in, who's out for these 2 teams? Well, Washington, there's no Brogdon. There's no Holmes. The vets, Middleton and Smart are both out as well. It's the front half of back-to-back for Washington. Toronto, the Raptors, did they play yesterday? That was Saturday, right? I think this is an island game for Toronto. Toronto, let's see. Agbaji's out. No Dick. Ingram's out. Pirtle's got a rest. He's exhausted. Jakob Pirtle is exhausted. And then there's Bogbo, who's also resting. They do have, it looks like, 11 bodies. Yeah. Toronto, Washington, theoretically a good environment, but again, there's some volatility here that I think I'm going to step away from mostly. What are your thoughts?
Well, to address a couple things in chat real quick from Chris, what about Sarr? Yeah, Sarr's fine. We didn't talk about him, but yeah, he's definitely on the list of guys you can certainly play tonight in that game. Just a level below the Dyson Daniels and Okongwu, but Sarr is fine. Johnny Jazang, no, I'm going to pass, especially now that we're getting some news that some of these Utah guys might be in. Yeah, I don't think Johnny Jazang is a guy I think you need to stretch for right there. I don't think that's where there's already so much value in the slate, or good and better value than that. So I don't know that he has any type of upside. So clean that one up. And then Toronto, Washington, I think that my favorite play in the whole game in general, and it's not saying a lot, but Orlando Robinson, go back to that well at 3,700. I think he's fine for Toronto. And the rest of those guys, I think, Barrett or Quickly, or they are what they are. I don't know if there's a ton of upside these days with limited minutes. Scotty Barnes the same way. But they take enough minutes on the court that it kind of runs some of these other guys, doesn't make you feel very comfortable about rostering them. So I think Orlando Robinson is my favorite play from Toronto, and maybe the only guy I'm really actively trying to get to in some of the builds. For Washington, don't like him very much. The Sarr is fine. He's 30+ point projection, fair price tag. The rest of it's a little bit iffy, except for I could get behind some Bilal Coulibaly. I can get behind that one. I just think there's a chance. Then these teams just, what's today, the 10th? I think they just played recently. Yeah, 2 days. Yeah, that was the 2 days.
What Sarr was really good in, and Pirtle didn't play, and he significantly weakens Toronto's rebounding ability, and he got 13, 14 rebounds there. So I don't mind the Sarr play. He's in the mix for me.
No, Coulibaly just dropped 44 on him.
Yeah,
I think he's in. Oh well, let me also double check this. I don't want to give you bad information. Yeah, number one defense versus archetype for his matchup today. I thought there was a reason for that. This is a pretty good matchup for him. That's why I put him in the survey. All things added together for him to be a pretty decent play for under 6K. So I think there's a path there. So Robinson, Coulibaly, cheap pieces from this game do well. I don't want any expensive piece from this game at all.
Mr. Richards asking about pool. No interest in a pool party?
Oh, man. I mean, it's a fine matchup. He's a GPP play. He's not a guy that I'm highlighting to put in to try to see if I can finagle in some lineups. But he's a fine GPP play. If I made lineups and let's see, what am I do tonight? Let's say 50 lineups. And if I looked at the end of that build and it said, you know what, you got 25% Jordan Poole, and that's over twice as much as the field, I wouldn't touch it. I'd be fine with it, but I'm not actively looking to say, if I look at that build at the end and go, man, I don't have any Jordan Poole. Well, let me make 10 lineups that force him in because I've got to have some Jordan Poole. No, wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with him if he's in there, but I'm not going out of my way to put him in my lineups.
Ricardo saying Boucher ? Boucher hasn't played in over 2 weeks. He had the teeth. He had a tooth. He had a root canal. I don't know I think he was available last game. Was the NPCD? I could be wrong. I think he dressed though. We are giving him 10 minutes, but this is the kind of game, again, in no way I'm recommending it. But if Boucher came out and played 25 minutes and dropped 35 fantasy points, would that shock me? No, because I just don't know what Toronto's going to do. I have no idea. But again, he hasn't played 2+ weeks. He's been dealing with teeth. I guess one specific tooth. His mouth hurt, and he had surgery. I can't recommend it. I can't. But again, if you're playing some crazy 1 in 150, a bunch of money up top, whatever, sure. But he can get you a legit 0. But I just do not trust the Toronto rotations right now. All right, news coming in. They said Paul George can miss at least the next 2 games. He's just not going to play the rest of the year. Just tell us that. Shut him down and say it's over. Stop this nonsense. We're not going to see Paul George the rest of the year. Just say it. It's okay. Who else we're not going to see is officially Garrett Cole shut down with the Tommy John. I don't know if you saw that shot that officially came through. There was some strong speculation and recommendations, and looks like he's done for this year, and we'll see for next year. It's kind of a bummer for him and for New York.
Yeah, especially since they had a chance to, like, didn't he have some sort of a player option or something? He was going to opt out at the beginning of last year or something, and
then he extended. He signed an extension.
Yeah, something like that, something crazy like that. So he did, but then he didn't officially opt out technically, and so now they're on the hook for him for another like 3 or 4 years at $36 million a year. Hey, I'm not laughing at the injury. This is more towards my Yankees fans. I feel sorry for you guys. I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
It was really heartfelt, John. Need a minute to compose yourself.
I'm trying to keep from crying for these guys. The
Hornets take on my Miami Heat. They make me want to cry. They're terrible. 215.5. They're just in the worst possible spot. They need to be worse. They're not. It's impossible to keep up with all these terrible teams. So they're by default going to be in the play-in nonsense most likely. 215.5 is the total. The Heat are 9-point favorites here as far as who's in and who's out for Miami. Well, Alec Burks, we just ruled him out of projections. I guess, is he ruled out? Did I miss Burks was ruled out? I might have missed that update. Yeah, there he is. He was ruled out. Hero is officially in. Jaquez is available. Robinson is available. Kalawer, he's got that knee. He's available. Wiggins is available. Taking on a Hornets team that, Nurkic has a neck, but he's good to go with his neck. And, their best players should be available as far as, I guess, you want to call it a big three. If any team is, Ball's in, Bridges is in. Is Mark Williams part of that big three? Not sure. Diabate was played pretty good last time. Maybe they play all three. I don't know. As far as Williams, Nurkic, and Musa Diabate. Chop, is this a catch-me-up game? I feel like this is a catch-me-up game. Terry Rozier revenge?
I don't have – Terry Rozier is literally tanking games out there on purpose for his bets. Like it's pretty clear the way
you're speculating. You shouldn't say literally.
I've seen the footage. It looks a little weird. That's for sure.
He's not been good this year.
No. So no, I wouldn't play Rozier. I think Hero and Adebayo are priced too high. I kind of don't need to, play that. Nobody else projects well enough that I'm gonna get them in my lineup for the Miami side. For the Charlotte side, kind of a similar thing. Ball's 9,400. I'm not playing that. There's plenty of people to spend money on. I don't need to do Ball. Bridges, no thank you. Mark Williams, no thank you. Yeah, this game is not really something that appeals. There's 10 games. You can have plenty of games that you just don't have a single player that you're interested in, and this is one of them.
I'll give you one on FanDuel. Wiggins is 6'6" on DK. But on FanDuel, he's 6'1". That's a pretty good price over there. So he's like cash game playable over on FanDuel. Hero's getting, around 10%. Bam around 10%. Nobody on Charlotte's getting anything. I can't imagine I'll get any Hornets. And I'm unlikely to get anybody in the Heat as well. Just Hero's really expensive at 8.8. Could he pay it off? I suppose. But it's kind of the scenic route on this slate. Taking a peek at the, let's see, the Discord channel. Do we have any winners just yet? Well, even if we did, we can't announce it. We don't. It's not the Aviator or the Order. I don't know what the Order is.
I'm pretty certain mine is not the right guess, but I need the confirmation, and we need clue 3.
It is not Philadelphia. I'll tell the people it's not Philadelphia.
Yeah, these clues could go a million different directions, each one of them. So
it's not Don't Look Up, which was guessed, or Primal Fear. Great movie. That was Edward Norton's first movie, by the way. He was like 21. Incredible.
He was awesome in that film.
Yeah, I gave it a rewatch not too long ago, and it holds up. But yeah, this is really good. Very good movie. Richard Gere was really solid.
Oh, I got to see A Real Pain on Friday night, Dean. That was a good movie, man.
It was good. It was. Do I want to watch it again?
No, I'm not watching it again, but it definitely had some good meaning behind it.
Yeah. That's Culkin. He plays the same character. He plays it really good. He's very good at that character.
He's not even playing a character. That's his real life stuff.
That's just him?
Yeah, seen him. I don't want to spoil it for the people, but I sure would like for you to tell me what your opinion was on the ending.
Yeah, I'm trying to. You know what? I'm trying to remember if there was like a big ending, and I don't remember.
No, it was pretty subtle.
Yeah, I think it was anticlimactic, if I remember
Well,
correctly.
it just had me thinking something else.
Oh,
Do you
well,
think? Do you think? I don't want to spoil it for the
no,
people.
don't spoil it. We don't.
Okay, we don't want to spoil it then. Never mind.
Just won an Oscar. People still haven't had a chance to see it. I think it's on the Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. By the way, if producer Steve can drop there's a GIF of it's a pretty famous GIF, or maybe it's just a meme. You ever see the kid? You probably know this, Chop. The kid that's like really old, like the 80s or the 90s, of Kieran Culkin for Pepsi with like the glasses, like one of his first gigs ever. You ever see you've seen it before, like the picture of the Pepsi kid. If you just type in Pepsi, you'll probably get it. Pepsi kid. That's Kieran Culkin at like 8 years old or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? The GIF? You've seen it before.
If he posts it here, I'll be maybe refresh.
There it is. There you've seen it before.
I never seen that commercial before.
Yeah, that's there you go. Is that from a commercial or is that from like Home Alone? Was that in Home Alone? I know his brother was in it, but not sure. I don't know if that's from. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Mr. Nasty, who's a good authority on such things. Says yes. This is from Home. That is from Home Alone. I didn't realize they were both in it. Okay, it's been a while. I haven't watched Home Alone forever. I don't have any kids. Phoenix and Memphis. That's a 244 total. Chop 244 monster total. It's high and it's pretty tight, right? Memphis is just a 4-point favorite here. We know Triple J is out. This, by the way, is the first of the 8 o'clock games. All those 7:30 games. We're done talking about those. 8 o'clock. We have Memphis at home versus Phoenix. No Triple J still. Additionally, Brendan Clark is questionable. Zach Edey's questionable. So 2 bigs are questionable. Luke Kennard already out. Aldama also out. So Memphis is kind of thin for them. Vince Williams questionable. So a lot of moving parts, especially if Clark, Edey, and Williams are all out. It's hard to say right now. We're projecting Ja, Bane, Wells, Vince Williams, and Edey to start. But again, that can change. What if we lose Edey and Clark? Phoenix is happy to go small. We did see them go big already against Denver because they were going against Joker, and Plumlee was their closing 5. As far as Phoenix, no Bradley Beal, which opens up Tyus Jones for his revenge game. We're presuming he's going to draw the start here. Monty Morris is doubtful. Cody Martin's out. Phoenix, Memphis, the Red Hot. Bane. Oh, did we get news? What's the big news? Tatum and Horford are out. Zinger we knew was going to be out. So now Mark to be out. Markkanen has to be out. There's
Probably
no allowed to play. There's no chance. But go ahead. We'll circle back. But your thoughts on Phoenix and Memphis?
Yeah, I like the game. The total and the tight spread tell you a story, and I don't mind it. I like Desmond Bane been playing better or playing really well lately. Like you said, Phoenix is not playing much defense these days. Bane's been on fire. A lot of it correlating with Triple J being out, and so Bane's fine. He's relatively cheap. I like Ja Morant in this matchup also. Probably not a huge fan of the rest of the Memphis guys. I think those mid-priced guys are good enough for me. And on the other side there, I think I want Kevin Durant over Devin Booker tonight. I think Durant's a fine play. I think you need to look at this game, and I'm not saying on a 10-game slate you have to have 2 players from this game, but this is definitely a game you could have some players from and feel pretty good about. Durant.
But now Jaylen Brown is better. He's going to project so much better, right? Similar price, actually cheaper. We'll circle back on that, but yeah.
But that still has the makings of a blowout regardless. This one, I don't think this one blows out. I don't see how either one of these teams, they're both trying to win this game. And so I don't see how I don't think either one of these teams is capable of blowing out as currently constructed, capable of blowing the other one out. I think this is a tight game with no defense. Memphis is, giving up tons of points these days. So, Tyus Jones is cheap with Bradley Beal out and some of the other stuff going on in the Phoenix lineup. Tyus Jones, I don't love him typically, but he's super cheap, man. 43. Like yeah. So I think there's pieces to this game. All those pieces are fine.
I mentioned earlier that you talk about the defenses. Phoenix last 15 games, rolling last 15, worst defense in basketball, 122.5 defensive rating. That is not bad. And of course, Memphis takes a big hit in the absence of Triple J as far as defensive, and they play at the fastest pace. I think still the fastest pace. Let's check and see and confirm. Yes, they're still just ahead of Atlanta. And you mentioned Memphis. They, the one is OKC. OKC's got 12 games on the Lakers. It's over. And this is a matter of when they officially lock up the one. The Lakers are the 2, 12 games back. Denver, 12 games back, the 3. Memphis, 13 games back to 4. Your Rockets, 14 games back to 5. It is so tight. 2 through 5 is super tight, and there's even a chance they can fall behind and out of the top 6 and fall into the play-in nonsense with Minnesota, only 4 games behind them. So those are the teams that are trying right now. They're at least jockeying, and Memphis certainly, and they have a chance to get the 2 if things crack their way. Again, 2 is just 2 games away, and LeBron is hurt for who knows how long. But obviously it'll be difficult in the absence of Triple J. But yeah, I like Bane a good bit. He's been awesome in 2 of his last 3 games or 3 of his last 4 games. One tough one versus OKC, but he gets a lot of usage shuffled his way in the absence of Triple J and Aldama, not just shooting, but like ball handling, assists, boards. And then we'll see how the rest of the pieces break for us, because there is a lot to monitor. Okay, we're going to circle back on Boston. We'll talk about the Pacers and the Bulls. We'll drop a third clue for each shop. I know you want a third clue. What's the timeout?
Real quick, before we leave this game, Javier wants to know about Gigi Jackson. No, I'm not playing Gigi Jackson tonight, Javier. Not doing it. And do you like Nick Richards in large field at that price? I think in large field for Phoenix, Nick Richards is fine. Yeah, I'm not going out of my way to do it, but yeah, he's fine. I don't think he's gonna bury you. I don't think he's gonna win it for you, but not everybody's gonna win it for you. He's not gonna bury you. So yeah, I just wanted to address that.
For Jackson, I would need at least one more guy out, which, he's currently getting 19 minutes. We have much better value stuff out there. You can tell yourself a story if you want to. But I would probably need at least one more guy to be out for Memphis. But Kennard is out. Triple J obviously is out. That's large field stuff. But, definitely not something that I'm strong. If Vince Williams is out, he might all of a sudden become pretty interesting. Vince Williams is questionable too. Third clue, Chopper. We're going to drop this on the scroll. It is covert. Covert is the third clue. Discord, I don't think we have a winner just yet. I see some guesses coming in. It is not the Lincoln Lawyer or the Pelican Brief or Recount. But guesses are coming in here in the Discord. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. It's not Sherlock Holmes either, or Scream, or where the Crawdads sing. But we have a bunch of guesses coming in here. All right, let's. We do have a refresh on the lineup HQ. Look at that lineup. The projection team is on top of this. They already have the Boston stuff ready for us. Wonder how that changes things. I imagine Brown is going to be hitting stuff pretty hard. Okay, we'll circle back on that. We did get Horford out. FEV, Freddie Van Vliet, is out as well for Houston. I think that's right on cue, right? Because that's our next game. No, it's not our next game, but we'll talk about that soon enough. Next game is the Pacers and the Bulls. Bulls are 6-point dogs here, Chop, at home. Front half of a back-to-back for the Pacers. I think the Bulls, the rare island game tonight. Monster total, 242.5. Vuk is expected back. He said he was going to play. I think he's still officially questionable, but we're assuming he's playing. We're projecting him in. Lonzo Ball is doubtful. Vuk is still officially questionable. Kobe White's probable. Patrick Williams is questionable. He's got a quadricep tendon. And did I miss anybody as far as Chicago? Dosunmu's out for the season. And Indiana, well, Halliburton hasn't played for several games. He's questionable. We saw McConnell have a nice game when he stepped up for him the first time around. Second time around, he got hurt less than a minute. I don't think he got a fantasy point. Just blew everybody's team up if you played him. And then we saw what Nembhard and Naismith was a Mathurin. I think Mathurin played like 35, 40 minutes or so off the bench with the injuries. Good matchup against Chicago, obviously. Pacers, Bulls. What do you got for me, Chop?
Yeah, it's a great It feels like it should be a better environment than what it really is for DFS. Like it's got a high total and it's got a pretty tight spread. I'm just not finding a whole lot of love for very many of the guys in this game. Trae Young ruled out.
Yep. Here we go.
Dang, man. Okay. I wish he was in because I wasn't going to play him anyway. And
Keaton Wallace is the guy. I think he's the guy. Well, what about LeVert? Did we get LeVert news? He could be the guy.
I haven't seen any LeVert news. We'll have to circle back on that one in a minute. Basically, we'll get through some of these games and then we'll just go back and talk about some of that stuff. We'll save plenty of time because we don't need to talk about what you got.
Is Lonzo officially out? Patrick Williams officially in?
Yes.
Okay, that's just dropped.
No, chat dropped that about 5 minutes ago.
Well, spinning plates.
Yeah.
LeVert is out too. Okay, so it is going to be Keaton Wallace season. I think that's what's happening.
Okay. Indiana, not really super enthused about him. Chicago, I think there's pieces here, namely Josh Giddey. I love Josh Giddey in GPPs tonight more than any other player in this game. Putting up monster numbers here lately, and I don't think
dubs on the reg.
Yeah, on the regular, man. And so I don't think that they're gonna. Yeah, I don't see any reason why he stops his torrid pace in this game. I like him in GPPs quite a bit for really low ownership.
Does Vuk hurt him? Also, the price is up there, but
no.
Does Vuk coming back hurt him or not enough?
Got to help him. I think it helps him a little bit. Maybe a couple extra assists to get him to that triple double. He's not a scoring dependent guy anyway, and he's gonna stuff the sheet everywhere. So I think it may even help him.
Did we have we had Ball projected or no? He was doubtful, so he wasn't projected. We're giving Vuk 30 minutes, so not completely full, right? We haven't seen him in a while. 34 for Giddey, who's been really, really good. Obviously, you don't play Collins or Smith, right? Then those guys go away. They go to bed. They're priced way up, and Vuk is going to steal most of those minutes at the 5. Some of the worst players on the slate. Do you have a plan as far as Halliburton if he's in or out?
I don't like him either way. I like if he's in, I don't like him. If he's out, I mean, maybe you can twist my arm and take a Nembhard or somebody like that, but I don't think it's a priority, especially not now. Like we got a lot of good value going on, so we're about to get to some more value this next game. I don't think that moves the needle enough for me tonight.
I am surprised at how strong the Nembhard projection is. If we happen to lose Halliburton, we have an if-then chop, and he's on DK. He's 5K, right? And our projection would jump to 34 minutes and about a 39 DK median, 39 FanDuel median score, which would be awesome at 5K. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I was looking at Naismith. Nembhard, 39, his price is 5.7. So still would look really good at 5.7. And we know the matchup against Chicago is obviously prime as well. And is that under the assumption that McConnell is out too? McConnell's still officially questionable, right? Yeah. Doesn't seem like he's going to play, getting hurt yesterday. But I think it sort of clears the way. I like Nembhard is the point I'm getting at. And I'm fine with Mathurin too. I believe started the second half yesterday. If Halliburton's out, I should put the qualifier there. But there is a ton of value out there. It's loaded. You said you're making how many laps today, Chop?
50.
Yeah. You can make 50 good lineups. Like all your lineups should have good players. It's not.
I mean, at this point,
players.
At this point, it's pretty ridiculous.
I am giving a refresh here, Chop, on we got the Boston stuff. I'm doing FanDuel first and then DraftKings. Just want to take a peek at what the quote-unquote optimal stuff is. Now I have some, bells and whistles, and I add some variance to it, and I cap some players, but I think Boston is hitting this really, really hard. Yeah, on FanDuel, the first 4 players, percentage-wise, Brown, Pritchard, Cornette, and White. Then the 2 nonsense players for Philadelphia, Butler and Walker. Wow. Boston's going to be hitting it really, really hard. And on DK, is that similar? Brown's the most popular player. Cornette's projecting well. Pritchard is projecting strong. Still just 5.7. His median projection is 37. Again, more stuff's going to follow. But, Derek White coming in 25% as well. So 4 players for Boston, at least 25% or higher for my DK stuff. Yeah, you're probably going to want some Boston, the old perfect storm of having players out and taking on a horrendous opponent in Utah on the season. The worst. Has that changed? I don't think it's changed, right? They're still the worst defensive rating. New Orleans has them by 0.1. Yeah, New Orleans got Utah by 0.1. So, but they're terrible. They're terrible defensively. Any more news coming in? My phone is lighting up, so I imagine some stuff is coming in. Vince Williams ruled out. Okay. Again, I don't know if you need it, but, you can start talking about those Memphis kind of fringe guys, and then somebody like Desmond Bane, to me, is one of my favorite players on the slate. His role should be awesome. It is the back half of a back-to-back, but they need to win. They need some dubs. Let's move on from Indiana, Chicago. Yes? 3 games to go. Pretty good time. About 17 minutes or so until we get crunch time coming in. Got TJ Zwarych, Kevin Roth. We have Kirkwood as well. I don't think we have an official winner just yet with our Movie Monday. Oh, we may have a winner. Not sure. Well, Steve just told me. I didn't see it. I'm trying to scroll all over the place. But clue number 4 for Chop and those that have not seen if we have a winner or not is True. True is clue number 4. That is our 4th clue. Just got another refresh as far as lineup HQ. Their projection team is all over it. So many things to update. We'll have to refresh here in a second. The Magic. Oh, here we go. Chop. This is a catch me up game. You can tell me otherwise. Your Rockets, 211 is the total. They have a 108 team total, and that means they're favorites. You do the math. Over Orlando, about a 5-point favorite here. They are missing some key players. FEV, no Freddie VanVleet. And Amen. Amen's out for a while as well. Suggs, of course, still out for Orlando. And no Moritz, no Mo Wagner. Rockets and Magic, thoughts?
Yeah. Fred VanVleet's out. We know the starting lineup for Houston, so I gotta think. I gotta rock with some Tari Eason here. I think he can get some things done. Şengün. I mean, it's not an ideal matchup for these guys, but
no,
I don't. I mean, this is just so weird because with all these guys out for Houston, they all happen to be ball handlers. So I don't know who's gonna really
point Şengün.
Huh? Oh yeah, maybe. But but I think you're going to get a lot of Tari Eason tonight. I think Jalen Green's going to handle the ball quite a bit. Probably get to the rim a little bit. I think these guys are in relatively decent shape. It's not a good matchup, but I think the volume should be there for quite a few of these guys on the Rockets. So I don't mind Jalen Green. I don't mind Tari Eason. Those are the upside guys. Şengün's a little bit too expensive for me in this matchup. Although, like you said, there's an outside chance he does a lot of handling the ball himself and creating shots for himself. So, yeah, I think those are the route I want to take. And you know what? On the other side over there, you could always play Banchero. You could always play Wagner. Those are the only 2 guys I'm even thinking about for Orlando. But I'll also say that with Tari playing and Jabari at power forward, and Steven Adams coming off the bench, and if he plays, they have the makings of putting a pretty good defensive team out there against Orlando to make it even tougher on them. So I'm probably more out on Orlando than I am Houston. I actually like some of those Houston pieces that I mentioned.
Steven Adams is kind of annoying sometimes. He takes away too many minutes from Şengün. Like he's out there late sometimes, like closing. Better defender, I guess.
He's they need to play him.
Good screener, obviously.
At a certain point, man, I think they play them both on the court at the same time moving forward.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that good for spacing? Şengün, I know he can do 3, but
he doesn't care about spacing. Drummond is out, by the way. So
oh my God, there's too much value.
Yeah, but Ime don't care about spacing. He wants defense, and that's a really good defensive lineup.
So Keaton Wallace is projecting tremendously. He's now the number 1 most popular player in the stuff I'm running because he's got to handle the ball, right? How many minutes we give him? Probably 30 or so. Just gave a refresh. 32 minutes for Wallace against Philadelphia, which is and that's a 38 fantasy point projection. It doesn't have to do that. We might have scores in the 400s tonight if we get some peak games. We get some big 80 pointers, 70 pointers from the studs where all of a sudden now we're going to get to pay for it. But scores can be huge because there's going to be a lot of cheapies that put up 30, 35. Some slates, this guy's 3K and he can get me 22. That's not enough. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than 22.
Got to do better.
It's not that slate tonight, and that's kind of brings us back to Bona. How many points can he put up? He was awesome yesterday. A lot of it was through stocks. Okay. Yeah, Orlando, Houston, anything else you got?
No. How's my guess? Did my guess get there?
No, but you also guessed earlier Argo, which I thought was a really, really strong guess. And True is the fourth clue. The fifth clue, this will get a lot of people there. I think the fifth clue will get a lot of people there. Is, again, it's Law, Rose, Covert, True, and the last clue is Cena. Cena is the last clue. Okay, we have 2 more games to go. Perfectly pacing here. By the way, yeah, you get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you have to take down the Movie Monday. You can always just pay for it. You can pay for it. We have a deal for a limited time. Get your first month of Combo Pro for $79 and change. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA. Am I missing something? Everything with the exception of NASCAR. You get all the bells, all the whistles for $79 and change for your first month for Combo Pro. Should also mention Props and Pick'em. Check out the Props and Pick'em package for a discount. Props and Pick'em package features daily prop picks, fantasy Pick'em selections from many of your favorite RG experts. We're knocking 50% off the price for the first month when you sign up with the link in the description. Chop, the other day you were dropping some of your favorite prop stuff. Again, I know you haven't shared any yet today. Feel free if you have any. I don't know if you're holding out on us or if you're not dabbling in those streets today. But if you happen to have any, by all means.
Nah, I didn't dabble with 50 lineups. I didn't want to dabble. I like to choose one or the other. If I'm not going to play much DFS, give me some props. If I'm going to do DFS, so probably not the props. So I didn't really get it. And not to mention we have a really small, weird slate in college basketball that I didn't touch. So if I'm not going to grind it, one thing I'm probably not going to grind the other. But yeah, I did see some props up there on scores and odds, and they've been true. They were very true this week, and they did really well. So
excellent.
Yeah, you got to get in there. And the problem with those props, you got to get them early because the lines will jump and mess you up.
Yeah. Candace in chat, by the way, says this is not. I guess she's a little bit behind. That is not from Home Alone. The Kieran Culkin. We got to have somebody to find because I didn't think it was either. But the chat was very, very adamant about saying that's where it was from. I thought it was from a commercial with the gif of Kieran Culkin holding up a Pepsi, which I just assumed was a Pepsi commercial, but I could be wrong. But we'll see. This is the most important thing we must figure out. We have 2 games left. Denver, OKC. They're saying that Joker is hopeful. They're running back last night's game. OKC got the better of Denver, the former MVP, the 2-time, 3-time MVP. The Joker taking on the future MVP and SGA. 237.5 is the total. OKC is a 9-point favorite here. We have a sneaky revenge game. I don't know if it's so sneaky anymore with Westbrook because we assume he's going to jump here in the starting lineup with the absence of Murray. No, Murray's questionable. Shouldn't say the absence of Murray. He may be gone. We'll see. Stay tuned. But who is out is Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray is questionable. Strother is out. And again, the Joker is questionable, although we're assuming he's in OKC. Well, Hartenstein's available. So, okay. And wait a second. Where's Holmgren? Did we project Holmgren out? You just kind of assume he's going to be out because I don't see him on the injury report. I understand the assumption. Are we projecting? Okay, no, we are projecting him in, but he's not in the starting lineups page for some reason.
Are you saying, Dean, we have a winner in a chat?
We just might, yes.
Can I just give my guess verbally then, Dean?
Yeah, you want to give me your reasoning too, if you don't mind.
my guess. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm probably
okay.
not. I just don't want to write it down and then wait 5 minutes for somebody.
Halliburton out, by the way. Just this latest madness. But go ahead.
Yeah, this is crap. Pain and gain. How about pain and gain?
Oh, the Rock and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
No, that was based on a true story, though. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it happened in Miami or somewhere in South Florida.
Cena's not. That's a red herring. What do they call it?
I'm not going to give you a red herring at 5. 5 is where I'm just kind of helping you out.
Okay.
Do you know what John Cena's his mantra is?
You can't see me.
No. But he has this thing of these 3 words he says.
You can't see me. 4 words.
It's blank, loyalty, respect. Have you heard this before?
No, I'm not a big.
I mean, you just hear these things.
Blank. No, I don't. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the Cena mantra is. I really don't. I didn't watch wrestling at that time.
Hustle, loyalty, respect. So knowing that.
So it's hustle?
It is a hustle.
Oh, it's a hustle. I thought. No, I'm okay. Wait a minute.
It's not hustle and flow.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Did you watch Righteous Gemstones last night?
I did.
Who was in that you recognized?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
No, I know I think I know what you. I can't put my finger on the name of the movie though.
Yeah.
I think the movie with the really good actor. He was Batman.
Christian Bale,
and then the really good Amy Adams, I think it was.
and J Law.
Okay. I can't remember the name of the movie. So that's what it is.
It's American Hustle. Yeah.
That was based on a true story.
Yeah, they were infiltrated they were within the FBI in the 70s, a sting operation. Yeah, it's a good movie.
But John Cena wasn't in that movie.
No, he wasn't. But
you just said clue number 5. You wouldn't give me a.
Well, because you think of John Cena, he does the hustle, loyalty, respect.
No.
I'm giving you.
When I think of John Cena, there's about a million things that come up rather than his mantra.
Ricky Steady.
I didn't even know. I mean, you can't see me. Like that's you know.
But I should have done that for that magician movie, right?
Man, now you see me. Yeah,
now you see me. Yeah,
those were pretty good. Those were pretty good.
Jorts,
the jorts, just being a wrestler, The Rock. There's a lot of things that would throw me off about John Cena before that. But okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
Yeah, Rose, by the way, Rose was in reference to Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. Pete Rose nickname, Charlie Hustle.
Oh, okay.
American Hustle. Law was J Law, Jennifer Lawrence. 3 was a covert operation. 4 was just telling you it was a true story, and that's how we got there. Talk to me about, by the way, Halliburton being out. This slate is wild, man. It's going to be really hard to figure out the value plays because there's so much goodness, and it's so.
McConnell is a game time decision. McConnell hasn't been ruled out yet either.
Huh? He's not gonna. Well, I guess he might.
So.
Okay. Why would they give us just a piece? Yeah, he's a game timer. Halliburton out. Murray's hopeful to play. I love this news. The NBA is amazing. Joker is hopeful to play as well. I'm hopeful to win a GPP tonight.
In regards to this particular game, I don't like it. They just played yesterday. It ended up being a 20-point game after Denver fought their ass to keep it close the whole game, and then just got ran out in the last 7 minutes. So I just don't think there's a lot of energy there. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of these guys sat. And then when they ruled in Chet Holmgren, or have they ruled him in? Or at least they've kind of.
He's not on the injury report. So
kind of basically roundabout rule. At one point, we thought he was going to be out. And I was like, well, we could play Hardenstein for sure. Well, now that takes that off the board. So they're kind of all over the place. Oklahoma City doesn't stand out. Denver doesn't stand out. We don't even know who's going to play. It's a short-ish type of slate. You don't have to save a bunch of roster spots for some late-night hammer. So I just don't like this game. This is just one of those games where, I think you could legitimately put up like a ton of points without spending for one player over like 9K on DraftKings. You can keep all your players under 9K and I think still put up a ton of points at every position.
I see Daryl in chat says SGA, Luka, and Joker in one lineup, but you can't do that on DK because that would leave you with 2/8 per player, and the math doesn't check out. I don't think you can do it on FanDuel, but like if you can do that somewhere, sure, yeah. Keaton Wallace, and we haven't even talked about Dallas going into the day. Dallas was like the best team for value, right? Because they're down to 8 players, maybe. Maybe we have 8 players dressing for now. They had players collide the other day. Like if things weren't getting worse, 2 of their healthy players collided. You don't want to laugh, but oh my God. All right. Yeah. So that's the last game. It is the 8:30 game. Dallas taking on the Spurs. The Spurs, who's in, who's out. Castle is questionable. Sohan is doubtful. Of course, no Wemby. Wemby's done for the year. Bassey's out too, the big man. As far as Dallas, Davis, Gafford, Hardy, Kyrie, Kai Jones is still out. Lively is still out. Prosper, I think, might be done for the year. PJ Washington, he's out. And Brandon Williams, who's been pretty good, is questionable. And I think he's the 8th guy, right? Am I right in saying that? No, we're just currently projecting him. Oh, they're at 9. Are we projecting Williams out? Or he's not on the lineups page. Let me see if he's actually being projected.
I thought I heard he was in. I thought right before the show, I thought he was in. I'm not sure. I don't
see that. We are projecting him in right now for what it's worth.
Okay.
But yeah, Dallas, we've seen Marshall's been incredible. Najee Marshall's been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
All the usage in the world. They bumped his prices up, but still, he's been paying it off handsomely. And the matchup against San Antonio is good as well. No Wemby significantly weakens their defense too. So, but earlier in the day, like I was like, oh yeah, Dallas, tons of value. But now, I think they're kind of like they're not in the front of the line anymore, as far as I can tell. You tell me.
No, they are not. Although I still love Najee Marshall because you still can get 50 points here relatively, I don't want to say easily, but it's very achievable. A 50-point game for under 7K. He fits that build where you just don't spend up on anybody. Just keep it all in the same range. Like Najee Marshall's been awesome. He's not some like they haven't discovered anything in Dallas. He's 27 years old. He's just getting a ton of minutes and usage, and that's what happens in the NBA. There's like plenty of guys on the end of the bench who could do this, and he just happens to be the benefit of it right now. So he's still going to be that guy. Love him. I don't really want to go with Klay Thompson. Somebody mentioned Klay Thompson. Michael mentioned Klay Thompson. I don't really want Klay Thompson. Like you got to have those 3-point shots falling for him. I don't, Dante Exum doesn't do it. Don't really want to get behind any of the other guys. It's Najee Marshall for me in this game. And on the San Antonio side, I had a little bit more interest about 30 minutes ago or 45 minutes ago before all this other value opened up. I don't really, I don't think I need the Keldon Johnsons anymore or anybody. So that's Najee Marshall in this game. He fits the build I want, which is really balanced with a bunch of guys who could put up 50 points.
I'm trying to see how up to the minute our ownership stuff is. As like 15 minutes ago, I'm sure we'll get an update. We had Najee at 45% on DK.
Dang,
I think that's
Dean.
going to fall back some.
Yeah, it will. Dean, I just my apologies. It slipped my mind, Dean. I didn't give you your trivia for today, but I got 2 of them. One of them's a layup, so I had to peel off from last week. But this was you have 50-50 shot at this one, Dean. Who hit more career home runs with the Astros, Lance Berkman or Craig Biggio?
Biggio was certainly there longer. I would say it's Biggio.
It was Lance Berkman. You were 50-50 on that. But
what was the difference?
You almost got 35 difference. 35 total home run difference. But here's one for you because I thought that one was a little bit cheap because it was a 2-part. Can you name the first player in MLB history to win the home run derby 3 different times?
Is this Astro related?
It is not. This could be anybody.
Oh man, Alonso I think won it twice. I don't think he's won it 3 times. McGuire, Hamilton's won it. I don't think Hamilton won it 3 times.
Here's a hint for you, kid.
Oh, Griffey.
There you go. You got it. Bang bang. Dean gets it.
By the way, Do I get any points for telling you Markkanen was going to get ruled out once Boston said we're not playing Tatum? Markkanen's being strapped down in the locker room.
Email DraftKings and see if I can't get you some extra points on your roster tonight because of making that call.
Is there a sweeter swing thing than Ken Griffey? I don't know if it is about lefties, but
it's the lefty thing, because if we're really being completely neutral about it, Manny Ramirez from the right side. Manny Ramirez. That's what I'm saying. There's something visual about the left-hand side. It makes it. But Manny Ramirez for a right-handed swing was, man, that thing was a nice looking swing, man.
I just love it. It's not the sweetest swing, but most intimidating in the box. Gary Sheffield. The way he cocked the back and forth. Derek is saying Juan Soto. Juan Soto grabs his junk between every pitch. That's kind of it's a manly move, I suppose. That's sort of his strategy. But yeah, let us know in chat as we jump to momentarily. I imagine we'll get to TJ's lurking. He should be popping in soon enough. Roth will be popping in a second. I guess we're gonna get Kirkwood for crunch time. Chop breaking the slate today. Who do we have breaking the slate?
Who's not breaking the slate? Everybody's breaking the slate, Dean. This is just a free for all. But I'll give you one. I'll go Dyson Daniels now. Dyson Daniels jumping out to me without Trae Young. I think another 50-point guy for 7K.
I'm glad you pointed him out because, he's hitting projections, trying to circle back and everything and deal with 10 games. But yeah, Daniels looks really good in the absence of Trae. I saw him hitting some stuff. Daniels is hitting 38% of my stuff on FanDuel. Wallace hitting the ceiling at 86%. Somebody in chat was asking about with Krejci being ruled in, does that really hurt, the likes of Wallace? We're assuming Wallace is starting now in the absence of Trae Young, in the absence of LeVert. I don't think so. Krejci's not a guy that's going to go ahead and start stealing stuff. And Daniels is going to look really strong as well. We just got another batch, by the way. Trying to see if anything different is changing. But, Keaton Wallace is the most popular cheapie on FanDuel. The most popular big spend is Brown. The other cheapies are Walker, Nembhard, Butler. I don't know if we're projecting Butler to start, but he probably finishes, right? They don't want to win that game. Who knows how that game's going to finish, but I imagine there's a good chance Butler closes. They're down to 10, Philly, right? Atlanta's a 10-point favorite. Really good chance, I think, that he we have Butler starting now. It looks like Butler, Edwards, Grimes, Walker, Yabusele, Reese, Bona, Council, Doughton, and Hood Shafino rounds out the 10. That is a rough 10. All right, let's do it. We teased it enough. Paul's saying Tony Gwynn, sweetest swing. That was a sweet swing for sure. Nobody had better back control than Tony Gwynn. Just incredible. I think he never struck out versus Greg Maddux. Is that the stat? Like 100 at bats, something silly like that? Maybe once. All right, let's do it. Let's bring in crunch time. It's Kevin Roth. Maybe Kirkwood? Kirkwood should be here by now. And TJ Zwarych. You guys know TJ? One of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Let's do it. Crunch time right now. We got Jeremy Sohan just ruled out as well, as if we needed anybody else. We mentioned Markkanen being out. We don't know about TJ McConnell. Roth, I don't know how much of the show you've been watching if you're just tuning in, but this slate is it's bonkers, man. You're going to have a lot of fun making lineups.
Yeah, I pulled up the Discord and B-Hand says, this slate is crazy. Good luck figuring it out. So I guess that's our job for the next 40 minutes.
There's a lot of value plays. It's figuring out the spends, I think. But you got TJ to help you out. You got Kirkwood coming in momentarily. TJ, how are we feeling about the slate?
It's something. It's crazy. It's certainly a Roth slate. You can play all the cheap guys you want to play. It'd be nicer if we had a few more spend ups to pay up for today, but we do still have some guys all the way up and quite a few 8 to 9K guys that are looking good. So it's wild, but it should be fun.
All right. Myself and Chop are going to leave you. I think we're getting Kirkwood in here in a second. Kirkwood's just never, according to Steve, says he's never on time in chat. So there you go. I assume that's what he's talking about, unless I'm reading a conversation out of context. But myself and Chop, we got lineups to make. And there's 10 games. There's a lot of shenanigans. Most of the news has come out, but stay tuned because the slate is flipped on its head multiple times, maybe one more before it is all said and done. But Roth, we're gonna yield. We're gonna leave it to you. Castle, by the way, is available for San Antonio. I guess that matters to some degree. Here comes Kirkwood. Here I go. Take it away, Roth.
Good stuff. Good timing. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz. I got my guy TJ in the house. TJ, what's up, man? How are you?
A little overwhelmed with all this news that we got coming in today. Massive 10-game slate. All the games start within 1 hour of each other. So it's a massive sprint slate. My right wrist is hurting. I know people are going to make jokes, but it is what it is. My right wrist up to through my hand is hurting from all the typing I've been doing.
Okay.
Feeling like some carpal tunnel going on or something like that.
Gotcha.
We're battling through it. I got my hip hurts, but other than that, life's good.
Yeah. You're working hard. Your hip hurts from sitting. Your wrist hurts from typing.
Yeah, it's the most annoying shit.
Some modern day injuries here.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is there 10 games and none of them start at the normal time and all of them start within an hour? Is there a holiday that I'm missing? Why is this happening, TJ?
It's a great question.
No one knows. Sorry,
it's just NBA scheduling, and the DraftKings and FanDuel both left off the later games, the slate, because it should be a 12-game slate, but they left off the two.
Yeah, it seems just weird that all the games are pushed back 30 minutes when there's this many games. But that's all right, because we got Kirkdiese in the house helping to navigate the craziness, or not. He shook his head no. How you doing, man? How you feel about
this?
Did
I do that? Did I mean to do that?
You did. You very subtly were just like, no.
Yeah. No, it's bananas. Everything's dropping, and let's get to it and try to figure it all out on the fly here.
This is the best time. I really feel like this is when crunch time is at its best, when there's no super clear, like, these are the three cheap guys, these are the three good guys, when there's a whole lot going on and you got to try to pick the best, or even when everything's crappy and you got to pick it. These are my favorite kind of slates. So let's dive right into it here. I would say let's walk through all the breaking news, but there's probably been too much. Maybe we just dive right into the slate. TJ, what does usually help is if you could give me a heads up on if there's anything we're waiting for. You said we've got most of the news. Is there anything wildly important we need to know still to come before we build lineups?
We have gotten most of it. There is still a few things we're waiting on. I think more than anything else, what we're going to be waiting on is starting lineups.
Yeah.
TJ McConnell is still listed as a game time decision. I'm kind of expecting him to be out just because, he was mega chalk their last game and he stepped onto the court, immediately rolled his ankle and didn't play. And so I'm feeling like if it's bad enough that he couldn't play in that game at all, when, typically that's when you got some adrenaline and it does feel good.
Yeah.
Next day, it's probably not feeling good enough to play either, is my assumption, but we should get that news. I believe that's a 7:30 game. We should get that news before lock hits here. No, it's an 8:00 game, but it's still a chance. The other thing we're waiting on is another 8:00 game, and it's Memphis. They still have Zach Edey as a game time decision. Brandon Clark is listed as questionable, which is their two centers. Yeah. And so it's not like honestly, it may not matter that much anyways, especially if one of them plays, just because we have so much crazy value on this slate that you can get away with not going with anybody there anyways. But like if Edey's out, Clark's going to look great. If Clark's out, Edey's going to look great. If both of them are out, I think you'll be able to play Jay Huff at 3K, or who knows, maybe they dust off the corpse of Marvin Bagley or they bring out Lamar Stevens. We'll have to see how projections updates. Those guys I think will become playable, but still maybe not necessary based on all the value we already have.
Okay. Good breakdown. Kirkwood, let's dive into it. Michael in the chat calls tonight Timu NBA, which I feel like is a pretty good descriptor of what we got going on. Kirkwood, let's start over on FanDuel. Let's start at point guard. We'll work our way through. We'll go to DraftKings. We'll answer your questions as usual after that. Butthose saying the intense look Kirkwood is giving us right now. He loves it. Intense.
Well, here it is. Here it is. So I just got a text from Chop that says Kirky late for crunch time. Roth is pissed. That's Chop wrote that. Okay, but we don't have time for that. So yeah, let's get to it. So The big news, we do have one piece of big news. Obviously, to wait for Luka is the piece of massive.
He's
news
probable.
that we're waiting for. Yeah,
Okay.
but he didn't look so hot in that last game, so I wouldn't. Lakers probable is like more like a questionable, usually because they just throw them around. But
I just do a quick Luka thing? I saw a supercut of Luka from like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. And he was just so much more agile. I had forgotten. He used to be able to move a little bit and have a first step. His game is so
He still can. You're letting the internet.
Yeah, this is totally pissed off because Anthony Davis got hurt.
No, he's not the same guy. This is a good trade for the Mavs.
Now, oh my gosh! And then he took off his undershirt, and it was like, nope, he's still an NBA player. He's still ready. He really is. For him to be as like in the prime of his career and have slowed down as much as he has over the last 3 years is kind of wild. He's still that dude. That's what all the great NBA players do. The game is moving too fast at the start. They got to slow themselves down.
What?
Joker. Everyone used to say the thing about saying stuff with Joker.
Yeah, I'm not saying he needs to be fast, but damn, does he look slow compared to 2-3 years ago? Okay. Anyways, let's dive into it.
So what big news we've gotten already is the Hawks Philly is massive news with it's basically like a G League game, kind of, not really. But all the big names that we know are out for Philly, and Trae Young is out on the Atlanta side. So that is going to give us Keaton Wallace. And if you guys don't remember, when Keaton Wallace gets to start and gets a bunch of minutes, he goes absolutely nuts. So, I mean, he's put up like 50 fantasy points. He's dirt cheap. So he is an awesome play on both sides. 3,700 on FanDuel. Gotta love him. Behind him for value on the other side of the game is Jared Butler. This is the point guard position. We'll also get to Lonnie Walker in a minute, but on FanDuel, Lonnie Walker is for shooting guard. So here, Dyson Daniels is someone who could really rack up a lot of stocks, and they're going to need him for more scoring in this game. But in this, he's 7,600, kind of high, but not really in this situation. So he could absolutely go nuts. Derek White is now an awesome play with Tatum ruled out as expected. And if Boston plays down to their competition, which they do a lot, and where sometimes they're just not going hard or they're missing their threes, then Derek White and Jaylen Brown could go absolutely nuts. And same with Peyton Pritchard, who's right there at 5,800. So you like him. John Morant is someone who's going to get a lot of play. I love the matchup. I'm scared that it's a back-to-back, and he just played a bunch of minutes in a tough game last night, and they sometimes limit his minutes, etc., and like that. I prefer Desmond Bane if I had to choose for a guy in the Memphis Phoenix game, which is a great game to target too. So that's that, and then we're waiting on Luka and for the studs when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is always there. And Tyus Jones on looks like a pretty decent value play for 4,500 on FanDuel.
Okay, good stuff. Damn, TJ, a lot of plays, a lot going on already right out the gate. What are your favorites at point guard on FanDuel?
Yeah, Keaton Wallace, obviously the guy, as long as he is starting, as long as they don't do something silly like Terrence Mann starting at point guard today, Wallace is the guy that is going to be mega chalk, but it's good chalk. He's really good, like Kirkdiese said, as soon as he gets into the lineup and he plays big minutes, he's a great fantasy point per minute contributor. I like Andrew Nembhard and Peyton Pritchard a lot in the mid tier. Peyton Pritchard, one of my absolute favorites today. Luka Doncic spending all the way up. I think he's going to go far lower owned than he should be, especially considering this is a game without LeBron James today.
He should be 50+%, right?
And he's might be less than 15.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So it's a great day to pay up for Luka in tournaments. I like the Derek White call. And SGA, spending up for SGA in tournaments. Nobody's doing that again today, and I absolutely love doing that.
Yeah, good stuff. How about shooting guard, TJ?
A lot of the same names here as we switch over. Lonnie Walker, great shooting guard, cheap option today. Peyton Pritchard, shooting guard eligibility as well. Bane is a player I really, really like today. I want to get as much Desmond Bane as I possibly can. Or sorry, I was looking at DraftKings for a second when I had those availabilities of Pritchard. But Jaylen Brown, Dyson Daniels, Desmond Bane, they're the three chalkiest, but they are three really good options as well. I like Austin Reeves without LeBron as a tournament pivot. Mentioned Nembhard. honestly, I'm kind of finding myself agreeing with the field a lot on FanDuel today at the guard position, outside of like Luka and SGA going low on the point guard.
Yeah. Okay. Kirk, your thoughts at shooting guard, please.
Yeah, you kind of have to agree. This is NBA when like we get the huge players all out. It's that time of the year, and this chalk is just usually good chalk.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you nailed that. Jaylen Brown is could go absolutely nuclear if this game stays close, and even 3 quarters should be enough for him anyway. If he gets some steals in transition and he's hitting his 3 and making shots, then he's going to go ballistic. Love him like Derek White. I probably would pick one or the other tonight. I think it's possible you could play him, but like you're hoping for a lot there. But it is not terrible. Like Dyson Daniels, love Desmond Bane. The dude's just a baller. He gets buckets either by the 3 or just taken to the rim anytime he wants to. So love him. Austin Reeves, like TJ said, love him. Jalen Green is going to be like that. I think he's going to be low owned. Let me just double check that. Yeah, decently lowish owned for a stud. Getting a little bit of ownership, but Jalen Green could really go off. Austin Reeves, TJ said. Ricky Council is
Clark and Edie both ruled out for Memphis today.
Yeah.
So whoever starts at center, you got some interest in, I assume?
Yeah, so it should be Huff. Gigi Jackson probably in the starting lineup as well.
Could be Clark. They'll probably bring Clark off the bench. He could be the play.
Mark Stevens, I feel like, got minutes last time they were in this situation. Like Clark's out. Clark's out as well. Clark and Edie both out.
Huff could be good. He can hit a 3. If that helps. Makes your decision. Guy's capable of hitting a 3.
Yeah, a 3. All right.
I'm going to roll max one of Huff and Stevens.
Stevens stinks though for like offense. He's good for like stocks and stuff, but
yeah, 3K flat though.
I know.
Like last time, I believe they were in this situation once against it was Cleveland. Looking back, and it was a long time ago. It was like October, but he just like absolutely mega smashed.
Okay, Kirkwood. Any other thoughts? Shooting guard.
Yeah,
no,
just like any of these like studs who are getting lower and lower owned, like you can play De'Aaron Fox, you can play Devin Booker. These guys are just going to be lower owned now.
Did you mention Daniels?
I did. I love Daniels.
Okay, just making sure. All right, how about small forward?
All right. Small forward, it is. I just got a message that I need a haircut badly, and I do. That's correct. So
was this also from Chop? Was this?
No, this is in the same chat. But so the Supercuts is Wednesday is when I have the time to get us going to Supercuts. So that's going to be the day. So
we will need the Supercuts fade of the day.
On the Supercut. Maybe I'll do a live little video snap of before and after walking in there.
I would love that.
Okay, let's do it. Anyway, Jaylen Brown, Lonnie Walker, he just put up 50 fantasy points, and now he gets buckets, right? Like we all know that he stinks on D, he gets buckets, and somebody's got to score for the 76ers tonight, so it's probably going to be him. And Atlanta, and this should still be a really fast-paced game with absolutely zero defense. So I love all the value plays in this game. Desmond Bane, I like a lot. As I said, Najee Marshall, unreal role right now, just doing everything. So they basically have been using, Keon Johnson to play center, who stinks. And like Najee's just like hanging out so Najee's getting rebounds. He's facilitating the offense. He's the only one that's attacking the rim. It's like, it's his show. He's been a lot better than I thought he would be. So 7,200 is a steal on FanDuel for that role. Austin Reeves is great. Again, these studs, Booker or Durant, play someone like that. Tari Eason is getting the start tonight, who usually he's going to be extremely low owned. He's small forward eligible. It's a matchup against Orlando we don't like, but this guy can go ham in limited time. So I like him. I'll leave the rest for TJ.
TJ, small forward.
All right. Sorry, just doing a quick adjustment here to the build because with all this Memphis news. So pardon me as I do the quick switch over to FanDuel. We just got another piece of news. Is anything Jazz starters? Nothing of note. Made it over to FanDuel and small forward position. There we go. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. Smash that like button while we wait. Jaylen Brown has that small forward eligibility. He's the top play there. He's a lock for cash games. Lonnie Walker, also a cash game lock today, 4,400 in the starting lineup. You're playing him at cash. I like the Najee Marshall call. Desmond Bane, we've already talked about lots, but I think that's my favorite play on the slate. He's just been so ridiculously good lately with Aldama out, with Jaren Jackson out. He's getting more rebounding looks. He has the ball more. He's shooting more. Austin Reeves has small forward eligibility, like him here quite a bit. As long as TJ McConnell is out, which I am expecting him to be, Benedict Mathurin, I think, is going to be a great play today. He played 39 minutes in the last game in this spot, took 20 field goal attempts, 52 fantasy points. Obviously, we're not expecting that much again, but still, like, that's a really, really good spot for Benedict Mathurin today, as long as TJ McConnell is out. Zach Reese-Shea, I think, is interesting for large field tournaments. And then Gigi Jackson, now that we have all these Memphis guys out, I think he's probably going to have to play 30-plus minutes today at only $4,100.
Is he your favorite of those, the guys on Memphis? No, I guess Bane.
We'll have to, Bane's my favorite overall, but we'll have to see when these projections update because we still have Clark and Edie in. Jay Huff is $3,500 flat on FanDuel, as is Lamar Stevens. So they're both completely minimum price on both sites. So whichever one of those two starts would probably be my favorite value from Memphis.
Okay, that was kind of what I was looking for. If you have a preference there, and basically it's whoever's starting. Okay, power forward. What are you doing there, TJ?
Gigi Jackson also has power forward eligibility. Lamar Stevens, if he starts, I think is really awesome here at minimum price. Kessler Edwards at 4,400. If you need to save salary, you can play Najee Marshall here. We're projecting for a decent amount of ownership for Pascal Siakam and Paolo Banchero. I think if those guys were not chalky, I think they'd be interesting tournament plays. But on a big slate like this, since they're projecting to be chalk, same with Franz Wagner, those are just easy fades for me tonight. I'd rather play Jalen Williams at a similar price tag for low ownership. RJ Barrett at a similar price tag for low ownership. But for the most part, I think this is, and then Michael Porter Jr. at 6,700, I like as well. But for the most part, I think this is a great spot to save salary. Guys like Gigi Jackson, Lamar Stevens, Kessler Edwards, in that range.
Okay. Kirkwood, your thoughts power forward?
Sure. Najee Marshall, like he's small forward or power forward, but get him in your lineup on FanDuel for sure. King Kong, Onyeka Okongwu, he's beast mode, 7,500. I like that. I love Siakam. He is going to get some ownership, but I don't think it's not too bad. So I'm on board with him. I think this is the Bulls, so he's not too high owned to play against the Bulls, in my opinion. Kessler Edwards is like that cheap, slow grind. I talked about him, but he's getting center minutes now for Dallas. He's 4,400. Also, Jared Vanderbilt with LeBron out and them missing a bunch of their players. So he should get a bunch of minutes. I got him projected for 28 to 30 minutes here against Brooklyn. Not the sexiest of plays, but a value play if you need it. There's lots of value plays. There's Alex Sarr, 6,200. Guy, great matchup against Toronto. Also I like the other side when we get to center, Orlando Robinson too, on the other side for Toronto. Bam Adebayo has been balling lately. Been seeing a bunch of minutes. It's Charlotte. If that game stays competitive, he should go off. 9K is a little steep, so it's not a priority, but that's a good tournament idea. And then Riche for 4,700.
Okay. How about the big man? Take me to center.
Big guys. All right.
We did just get the Memphis update too, so we can see where, at least until we see the starting lineups, how we have it projected. Oh, it at least did for DraftKings, maybe not for FanDuel yet.
Okay, we'll get there in a little bit, and we'll probably get the starting lineup here before lock. What do you like at center here, Kirkwood?
Luke Cornett against Utah. Utah plays, they're bigs, so Cornett should be on the floor for a lot of the game here. And 5,300. He scored like 30 the other night in a similar role. Miles Turner now looks a lot better with Halliburton out. Just more usage up for grabs at 6,900. Adem Bona for Philly. Guy beasted, was it just the other day? And 3,700. Drummond, is Drummond still questionable?
No, he's out.
He's out. Drummond's out. So
Alex Len today starting for the Lakers over Jared Vanderbilt.
wow. So don't play Vanderbilt. He'll still probably get minutes, but I don't think Len will play a ton of minutes, but I would think. Yeah, I see that. Gabe Vincent. So Luka's in, so we're all set. So forget Gabe. We don't need Gabe. But Austin Reeves looks awesome. And Luka is probably the top stud if he's healthy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Any other names you want to throw out at center?
You would agree with that. You hated him 5 minutes ago.
I didn't say. I just said
I can't move, guy.
I just said he's slowed down to a ridiculous degree for someone in his mid-20s. That's all.
Roth said he's so much quicker than him. You know,
This is sadly this is a Mavs fan just trying to deal with the fallout of the comparison.
This is Cope.
Well, we should show the video I still have. I'm going Mavs in 4, lock it in, keep going, guaranteed.
That one didn't age well. All right, TJ, your thoughts at the center spot. I got to mute. I got kids being a little noisy.
Yeah, so like I said, if Jay Huff is in the starting lineup, I really like him. I would prefer him over guys like Adem Bona, Orlando Robinson, those other super cheap options we have at that spot today. Nikola Jokic as a low-owned spend-up when we have all this value, absolutely love it. Luke Cornett at 5.3 is fine. Robinson at 4.1 is fine. I would not play Vanderbilt anymore. I wouldn't play Queta on this slate when we have this many good options. For me, it would be like a cheap guy, like a Huff, would probably be my preference as long as he's starting, or all the way up to Nikola Jokic.
Okay. Good stuff, guys. We got to kick the DK before we do that. We want to make sure you're getting into the RotoGrinders combo, because for a limited time, get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. It's just $15 more than PGA Premium, only $5 more than NBA Premium. That is what we call a value play here in the industry. Let's go to DraftKings. TJ, get to lead us off there. We have still enough time, so just hit me with point guard.
All right. We did just get that TJ McConnell is expected to play.
Okay.
So that downgrades the guys like Nembhard and Mathurin.
Yeah.
And I think, do I want to consider playing McConnell? That's terrifying. I'm going to put him in the pool. He is more expensive than he was last game, but I feel like if we hadn't just got burned from his injury, I don't think we'd care if it was like questionable and now he's playing. We'd all love him. Right. And so I think with that, I got to put him in the lineup, and I'm going to make a rule: max 1, Mathurin, Nembhard, McConnell, and put that in right now. And I'll be able to tell you exactly how much exposure I have to everybody. But in the meantime,
the meantime, TJ, I have to say that was wonderful analysis. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's a whole lot of people watching and only 88 likes. And that is criminal for the kind of deep dive that you're getting from two of the sharpest minds in the industry. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the subscribe button for us. It's free content, and it's good free content. That's rare. Okay, TJ, back to you.
Couldn't agree more, my friend. Keaton Wallace is my highest owned, not just point guard, but player today on the slate at 63%. Peyton Pritchard coming in number 2 at 38%. Jared Butler in the starting lineup, 29%. All of these are going to be fairly chalky plays. Where I'm getting different is my next two, because I'm going to be doubling the field on both Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic tonight based on their projected ownership. We're projecting 10% for Luka, 8% for SGA. I have 25% of both of them today. Love Dyson Daniels and Derek White and Austin Reeves in the mid tier. John Morant is in a great spot. Josh Giddey and Emmanuel Quickly for super low owned tournament options. And then that's mostly it for guys I actually like. I'm mixing in a little Tyus Jones, TJ McConnell, Nembhard, Booker, Dinwiddie, Poole, Green, but all of those are less than 5%.
Okay. If our guy Luka, if my guy Luka is at 10%, I will eat a hat. Like, there's just no way that guy's coming in at 10% on a night where you have all the money in the world to spend on whoever and whatever you want.
You do
Kirkwood,
have all the money in the world, but the thing is you have, like 3 of the best value plays on the slate are also point guards, and he's point guard only.
Okay. All right. I may end up eating my hat. Kirkwood, what are we doing at point? What do you like? You playing Luka? Yeah, you are. You are.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I like Lonnie Walker. Still. So is he? Sorry, he's shooting guard. Sorry, I didn't click the button. I like Jared Butler. I like Keaton Wallace. Those are the 2 value plays. Man, they're like neck and neck for who's better. I think I'd probably go with Keaton Wallace, but it's really close. Dyson Daniels, I love. Peyton Pritchard, I like a lot now on DraftKings because he's 5,700 and we know what he can do. 6th man of the year. Spencer Dinwiddie, I hate playing this guy. It's terrible. Don't put yourself through the disappointment. I say to myself every time, don't play him. But like, he's 5,600. They have like 8 playable guys, and I think he's just going to get a bunch of minutes in this game, and they can probably stay close with the Spurs. So I think you got to consider him. Luka for the spend up. Derek White, still a solid play. John Morant, I told you I like Bane more, but still could end up being good. And then Austin Reeves.
Okay. That brings us to shooting guard. What are you doing there?
All right. Lonnie Walker, as I was saying. Desmond Bane, love him. Jaylen Brown, love him. Jared Butler is also shooting guard eligible, as I liked over on point guard as well. Same thing with Dyson Daniels. Same thing with Peyton Pritchard. Same thing with Spencer Dinwiddie. So this is like a complete, pretty much the same thing, except you throw Brown and Bane in with all the same point guards are the plays. That's about it. I mean, you could play Klay Thompson or Max Christie, but I don't know if I'm going to get to them.
Kirkwood, in the Discord, we've got someone saying, do you have any loss in Pritchard with him not starting?
No, that's his role.
That's what we want. We don't want.
They never do that. That's his role. He's gonna come in. He's gonna be the first one in, and he's gonna start chucking immediately. Don't worry.
They used to every now and then, like not so much this year, but last year.
It's not this season. Yeah,
there'd be times last year where they'd have a point guard out or a shooting guard out, and they'd mix him in instead of like a Hauser or instead of a big man, just because like, oh, he was the next man up. But he was terrible anytime they put him in the starting lineup from a fantasy perspective. So this is what they do, and this is what we want.
And he's also stepped his game up to a notch this season as well.
Yeah. Perfect little 6-man role. All right, TJ, what are we doing at shooting guard?
Our guy Peyton Pritchard is somebody we absolutely love. Lonnie Walker as well. Jaylen Brown has shooting guard eligibility, but we'd probably rather play him at small forward. Oh, sorry, no, never mind. That's just FanDuel. Desmond Bane, like I said, one of my favorite plays on the slate, if not my favorite play on the slate. He's my highest owned guy here at 45%. I have 45% Bane, 39% Walker, 38% Pritchard, 29% Jared Butler. So many of these guys have point guard eligibility too. So like Dyson, White, Reeves, guys I've already mentioned, nobody else more than 5%.
Okay. I want your thoughts at small forward. First, I want to give a shout out to Carlos in the YouTube chat. He says back-to-back Sundays taking down the night tournament with your projections. That's what we like. Actually, I added the your projections. I assumed he's talking about our projections. But shout out Carlos, using the tools, getting the dubs. TJ, small forward, what are you doing?
Jaylen Brown, Najee Marshall, the 2 absolutely phenomenal plays here at this position. Ricky Council and Gigi Jackson, the next 2 that I'd be looking to save salary with. So we got the 2 mid-tier guys, Brown and Marshall, both of them fantastic. Both you're probably getting 2 in cash games. Ricky Council and Gigi Jackson are my preferred salary savers. Then I'm getting to some just tournament options. RJ Barrett, Kevin Durant, Zach Reese-Shea, Michael Porter Jr., Jalen Williams, and Kobe White are the ones I like best here.
Okay. Kirkwood, your thoughts at small forward?
Yep. Najee Marshall, just too cheap, 6,800. Jaylen Brown, that perfect, like not full stud pricing, but full stud role here, and great matchup. You could think about Klay Thompson. I mean, he's he's chucking like crazy when he's out there, and this is a pretty good matchup for him. And I don't think they're going to limit his minutes. I think all these guys are going to just play a ton of minutes. I'm betting that this game stays somewhat like close enough. Ricky Council, did I say him? I don't know, but I like him. Sam Hauser, 3,700, coming back from a ankle injury, but a little minor one, but could certainly pay off his price tag of hitting some threes. Let's see. Kevin Durant for a stud. Scotty Barnes for a stud. RJ Barrett against Washington. They were letting him loose, like playing even like in garbage time. You don't know what Toronto's going to do. It's tough to predict them. They're so out there all the time, but I still think Barrett is in play, and he's under 10% owned, should be. So like that. And Cam Johnson is back for Brooklyn and soak up a ton of usage. So against the Lakers, so I like that.
Okay, power forward.
All right. Power forward is Najee Marshall again. Kessler Edwards, I said that slow grind. He's going to play a bunch of minutes, 4K, getting center minutes. Personally, he stinks, but he's probably going to get there and pay off the salary. These are all the cheap guys again. We got Ricky Council. We got Sam Hauser. We've got George Niang, who's going to shoot a bunch of threes against Philly. The guys I like to spend at this position, I love Siakam. I like Durant. I think Tari Eason, I gave my spiel over there on FanDuel. I still like him on DK a little bit.
Is this his first game with Amen out? I mean, first game since the Amen injury.
I think there's been other situations, but I don't know. I didn't look up the on-off or whatnot. I just do it mentally in my head.
Recent injury, but
yeah, I think so.
This is Amen's first game missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting for sure. Okay, any other names or no?
Out there, Keldon Johnson in this Dallas game. This could be the Keldon Johnson night. That big. We can go back to saying big body Keldon. Is that
big body?
Yeah.
I love it. All right, TJ, your thoughts of power forward?
So outside of Najee Marshall and a little bit of Kevin Durant, I'm mostly punting this position. Those are the only two players above 10% that are above 5K. Lamar Stevens, Ricky Council the fourth, Gigi Jackson, Kessler Edwards. Those are going to be my highest owned guys. And then I'm getting some Risa Shea as well. I like Michael Porter Jr., how I mentioned, and then 5 to 10% of all the mid-range 8 to 9K guys. Paolo Banchero, Miles Bridges, Jalen Williams, Bam Adebayo.
Okay, good stuff. That brings us to the center spot, TJ.
I'm absolutely piling up on Jokic tonight. 40%. Center is strong in terms of value, but it seems like that's the route everybody's going today. And so I'm going to load up on Jokic. He's my highest own at 40%. Next up is Jay Huff, really trying to get above the field on the Memphis big men, just because I have a feeling they could go under the radar a little bit. And especially if we don't get that starting lineup until after lock, that would be a good chance either Stevens or Huff. I don't know which one. I'm still guessing it's going to be one of those to start. Look pretty good. Adem Bona as a cheap option with no Andre Drummond. He's not starting, but it doesn't look like they're going to play Yabusele all that big a minute. So I think Adem Bona off the bench for Philadelphia looks good. Orlando Robinson without Jakob Poeltl, Luke Cornett, Onyeka Okongwu in the mid tier, and then just like a bunch of throw-in options for tournaments: Miles Turner, Nick Richards, Alexander Sarr, Khalil Ware.
Okay, Kirkwood, your thoughts at center. We got about 5 minutes for questions after that.
Yeah, I think Jay Huff is a really solid play, cheap here. A lot of good punts here. Cornett is another good punt. Okongwu, King Kong. I think he goes absolutely nuts in this spot tonight. Bona, as TJ was saying, Orlando Robinson. So we've got so much value here. Like all those guys are solid value plays. So you got to choose. Then you got the Joker if you want. Now, TJ, have you messed around with Joker and Luka?
That was literally what I was about to ask.
I haven't. I didn't try it in any hand builds. I might have gotten some naturally. I assume so because I got 40% of one, 20% of the other. But the one I had built into my single entry lineup today isn't Jokic Luka. I went Jokic SGA. Just because they're playing each other, and I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's open it up to some QQs. Hit us with the thumbs up, as I mentioned on Facebook, on YouTube, of course. Let's see what we've got. We will begin here with J Sams. Is it okay, Kirk, to play Bane and Ja together? Parentheses. I also have Huff and KD in the same lineup for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, it is. I would probably prefer the other way, but I've seen them some of the lineups I was building that I was getting both of them, and they're not too high priced. And they're going to have elite usage roles, so I think you can do it.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Okay. And are you bringing it back with someone on the other side if you're playing the two of them together?
He was doing it with KD there.
Yeah, KD is a perfect bring back. Would be him or Booker.
Gotcha.
Or you could do Jones for cheap if you wanted to.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go. TJ, this one's for you. DK single entry, Eason and Jay Williams or Barrett and Najee?
One more again, sorry.
Yeah, it was Eason and Jay Williams or Barrett and Najee. DK single entry.
Barrett and Najee.
We'll go to Bazinga. TJ, right back to you. DK Largefield. Any giddy in this muh? He's coming in pretty low owned.
Yes, I think he's a very strong tournament option. I have about 10%.
Okay. Kirkwood Test says I need someone between 4 to 4-4. I've got Cornette, but I'm considering Tyus Jones, Pippen, or Niang. Thank you so much. It's a DK GPP question.
All three of them are solid, so take your pick.
How do you prefer them over Cornette?
Well, I actually like Cornette the best, I think, but all of them they're all project relatively similar. The play, I think Niang is probably like the sneakier one of because he's just starting to project better now, and
okay,
people, he has that Luka look, so people don't like him that much,
Guys like Roth.
FanDuel Cash Kirkwood, Ja and Siakam or Derek White and KD?
Oh, I would prefer the best. I would say would be Bane and Siakam, but I'll say Ja's fine and go Ja Siakam.
Okay. Chris has a question from the YouTube chat. TJ, the question is simply Chet? Question mark? Chet? Question mark?
No exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. With authority. Markel says TJ Fox has been bad, but can he be good tonight?
I'm not getting there.
No. Okay. And not that it can't happen, but just simply because there's a whole lot of other great stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. FanDuel Cash, Kirkwood, Huff, Ricochet, or Bona and Edwards?
Bona Edwards.
Okay. Jim says thoughts on Bismack and a DK GPP.
No need.
Adam says thoughts on Huff, and I feel like both of you are kind of loading up right now in that spot, right? Well over the field.
Yes, as long as he starts, he's a great play. If he doesn't, I think he's a fine play.
Okay. Eric says, TJ, thoughts on Royce O'Neal's value today?
Not needed.
Ooh, thank God. Less than a minute here. Who's breaking the slate? That's a good one to end it on. Kirkwood, who's breaking the slate?
Breaking it? I'm a homer, so I'm going to have to say Jaylen Brown. But my favorite play is, I think King Kong, Oneko Kongwu goes ballistic.
Okay. TJ, who's breaking the slate?
Kirkwood had the right team, but the wrong guy. It's Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard is breaking the slate tonight. And then on the high end, I will say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drops back-to-back 40-point games on Denver.
This is the big marquee game where if he wants the MVP award, he's got to put a stamp on it, right?
3 straight games above 40% usage rate too.
Yeah. I kind of love that narrative, honestly. Guys, we have hit the lock. By the way, Carlos, I had mentioned, who won a tournament the other night, and I had assumed he was using our projection, says I was indeed using your projections. Congratulations, Carlos, and to everybody else who's crushing it. Let's win some tournaments tonight. I don't know if I feel good about what I've got, but we're going to find out what this mess is going to bring us here. So for TJ, for Kirkwood, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. We have been Kirk.